What does it take to stop an overpowered build in the Bazaar, let alone one driven by Reynad himself? Let's take a look at how he got there and how he was eventually stopped.
I like this healing item. Healing's pretty strong because it lets you kind of go to a bunch of fights with impunity, right? The thing is, the damage that you take from monsters, it's permanent. Like you don't regain all your life at the start of every fight.
So, the game starts out with Reynad picking up a healing item known as the Medical. In this current iteration, the NPC encounters that were currently the strongest were the NPC fights. So, this healing item will ensure that he doesn't take too many losses while gaining the best rewards possible. Sadly, the Medical is quite specific in its use. It requires medium items to get the absolute most out of this item. This continued for much of the day. Another fight, more gold. Another fight, more bad choices, so yet again, more gold, until Reynad got richer and richer, able to afford practically anything, but because the NPC fights were so important, didn't really find anywhere to spend it. Thankfully, Nufu came along as the fourth encounter of the day, offering hero powers, which are specific ways to change your win condition or help you build in a different path. Now, these ones that he were offered were quite specific, but quite potent and powerful. After some heavy health losses against a poorly chosen opponent, swinging its 24 damage Halidi into him over and over again, we find ourselves in an exceptionally poor position just before the first PvP fight. A critical point in time where you might end up going down your first life before you've really made any progress. However, there was a silver lining to this. This NPC that we thought was poorly chosen, absolutely taking far too much health from us, gave us our first medium item to help improve our situation with the Medical, and maybe gave us the key to the PvP fight. In this first PvP fight, we see the enemy deploy their poison very early on, but this is actually a 1 ammo item, and Pygmaliens, which the enemy is one of them, do not have many ways of restoring ammo at all. So from here on out, this is kind of a useless item taking up much of their board space that's just ticking one poison over and over and doing virtually nothing else. Now, Reynad, on the other side, has very little damage, just that little starting item. So we are relying heavily on our makeshift barricade and our Medical to keep us topped up and shielded up, awaiting the sandstorm. Unfortunately, the enemy player did also have an alien axe beating into us, which brought both players down low enough for the sandstorm to finish them both.
The better way to think about it, it's a tie. Brutal. Yeah, we don't have a great way of dealing with ties right now, I think. Well, we have a sort of a solution. I still get the trophies, but I also lose the life, which sucks.
The second day started much the same way as the first, with still very much the same game plan, just trying to piece together some sort of survivability to get through to the sandstorm. That was until Reynad spotted one item he knew he could somewhat break the game with, and that item is the ice cream truck. The game from here on out changes. He still has to go to NPC fights because that's how you get value out of the ice cream truck, and he still has to wait on the sandstorm. But now he is very reliant on the ice cream truck freezing the correct enemy NPC item so as to avoid him taking too much damage, because otherwise he has nothing else. He has to sell all of his other items to give the ice cream truck space to develop all of these chocolate bars, which he can in turn sell for maximum health. But he then continues to lose it through every single fight. We are at a very, very dangerous point in this build, and if we don't find a way to heal up, or at least give us some sort of survivability in a fight, we're really going to struggle when the next PvP battle comes along. But if he can weather this storm, and hopefully not lose to the PvP encounter, or God forbid, one of the NPCs, then he is going to be set up for an excellent late game, with loads of maximum health thanks to selling all of these chocolate bars, and plenty of money to go along with it. Fortunately for Reynad, he comes across the Street Magician, who he tips generously, which not only ensures the Magician will come back in a future round, but heals him massively, preparing him for this final fight. Now, this play sets him up for most of the middle of the game. With this crazy amount of maximum health, he can pretty much withstand the damage coming from most players and just survive until the sandstorm, hoping that he has enough health for the sandstorm to take them out before it kills him. Has the ice cream truck got boring yet? Don't worry, I'm not going to make you sit through the whole thing, but this basically goes on for a day and a half now. He goes to an NPC battle, and then while the sandstorm kills the NPC, he is gaining an entire board of chocolate bars, which he then sells to gain maximum health and gold and go to the next encounter and so on and so forth until he is ridiculously tanky and wealthy. And that's it. That's the strat. If you get this, you basically win the Bazaar, right? Problem solved. Game solved. Well, no.
Because even if you're at like 3k health, there's definitely builds that can do 10k, 20k damage. Like, you can't just out health everything. Oh, lemonade stand. Whenever you sell another item, see, like somebody asked, why wouldn't you always sell these? Like sometimes you want to keep some around, because then you get this, and then you can do some of these. And
finding the lemonade stand was the perfect pivot point for Reynad, while also synergizing with what he currently has. The lemonade stand gives you 30 extra maximum health every time you sell an item. So yay, even more maximum health. But it also means when you're ready to pivot out of your build, which means selling basically everything you have and buying a new strategy, you're getting 30 maximum health for every one of those items you get rid of. It's not as much of a detriment. You don't lose everything you've built up. You're actually gaining something while selling off most of that. And that very option appeared the next day. So here is our initial pivot. A Lion's Cane for the sort of Lion's Cane maximum health build. Space Scraper gives us shielding, keeping us alive, while the Lion's Cane deals a percentage of our maximum health as damage to the opponent. Which is pretty darn lucky considering we have a lot of maximum health now thanks to all of those chocolate bars we ate earlier. A perfect find and a great pivot for Reynad to go into. However, that is not the be-all and end-all. This will not take him all of the way. This still has some holes in it. We're not going to one-shot most classes, and even if we do, Lion's Cane takes a little while to charge up, so what's going to keep us alive as we get there? Well, I'm glad you asked, because we managed to slot in the final piece of Reynad's strategy to get him through into the end of the game. And it is one of my favourite items. It is so strong for Pygmalien, and it is an item that we expected great things of the moment we saw it. Luxury Tents. And he will need all of the help he can get from this item, and maybe more, as we are on our last life. If we lose now, it's all over. Demolishing his day 5 opponent, a Jules build from Reynad no less, he proceeds to dominate his way through the entire next day. Luxury Tents keeping him nice and full, and the combination of Sandstorm and the Lion's Cane destroying any PvE encounter he came across. He now has that crazy scaling potential that he said wasn't possible with the ice cream truck. It scales, but not so drastically, not so exponentially. Coming across a Stel build towards the end of day 6, the speed it was able to accrue during the battle was worrisome. That's a lot of speed to have and can get very deadly if it lasted much longer, but thankfully we were just able to take it out in time. While worrisome, a win is a win. So we look strong, but there are cracks in this strategy. That Stel build could have won, and there are a lot of other strong builds out there. We no longer ourselves have a consistent way to scale. Our scaling potential is through the roof. We have that exponential scaling possible, but we are now heavily reliant on finding events or other items that can boost our maximum health to get Luxury Tents and the Lion's Cane to those crazy levels that we actually need them to be at to continue much further through this game. The end of day 7 did bring us a little bit of luck though. A slow-moving Stel build isn't able to scratch Reynad's build, as we confirm some more trophies before facing the final 3 days with just this one life remaining. NPC battles are now somewhat trivial to him. He absolutely flies through the last day, but struggles to finish his build. He does find one last hero power, which increases the speed at which buildings charge, which is a Pygmalion archetype, including the Space Scraper. So that is some very much needed shielding for some of the big damage builds coming our way. But he barely increased his maximum health and couldn't find anything for those final 2 slots of his board. And as such, we go into the 8th PvP battle with a strong but incomplete build. Will it be enough? In this latter part of the run, everyone is going to be strong. Sure, we waltzed past that last opponent, so we should be feeling strong, right? But was that just luck of the draw? Have we got a false sense of confidence? Is Reynad going to lose before he finishes this run? Reynad's opponent is, well, another Reynad, this time piloting Jules, and damn does he have a strong Jules build. Is using food, which has since been renamed to Joy, but an exceptionally strong build nonetheless. These cookies are spamming joy onto Pygmalien, while also increasing the amount of joy that other items are giving him. The hotbox is making sure that even more joy is being placed onto him every time that associated cookie triggers, and the worst part of it all is that this Jules build has exceptional access to freeze. Now, against anyone else, a Vanessa with 8 weapons, that's going to be nothing. But against a Pygmalion build, with just 3 powerful items, a freeze on a short cooldown is going to wreak havoc. If we had a 4th and 5th item, there is a chance that the freeze would have missed one of our important key items once in a while. But at this point in his build, Reynad needs all of his items triggering regularly to keep his health pumped up, to keep him active, and to keep that damage swinging out in anticipation of the sandstorm. And against Jules, matters get worse. Specifically against Jules with Joy builds. Joy doesn't care for maximum health. A good meal slips through armor and fills up anyone's belly. And it doesn't matter how much you heal, you're already at full health. Joy only really cares about the damage you've sustained and how much health you have. Against these Jules builds, you kind of want to kill them before they feed you up and make you joyful. Now, this could have happened, but Reynad only had 3 items. That means Lion's Cane was his single damage item, and my god did it get frozen over and over and over. There is a chance Reynad could have won this battle. But through a lack of items and a little bit of luck on past Reynad's side, it wasn't meant to be. This joy mechanic proves too potent for our Reynad, and the glorious Pigman alien bows out of the competition at day 8. Poor Reynad. Hopefully all of you will gain access to the game soon enough so he doesn't have to go against himself over and over. His one true weakness. Who could have guessed? If you are enjoying this gameplay and you really want to play the Bazaar, you need to make sure you are keeping up with how successful you expect this game to be. Is it potentially going to fail? Is there a future for this game? Well, find out in this next video.